What are we gonna do today, guys? Well, I've picked out 5 knives that are some of the sliciest, best cutters that have come in that are still here at the house. And we're gonna do it out here because it's a beautiful day. Just like to point out, Shopcat is out here as my outside production assistant today, so he'll be here with us today. There you go, bud. Guys, I should be able to remove most of the background noise with the new studio software, but I've picked out 5 of the knives that are here that are some of the best cutters. A couple of these are like all-time great cutters. So let's go ahead and start with this one right here. This is the Precision Knife Works war-int, and this is probably the best cutting knife I've had coming in. If you can't cut it with this, it's because you're doing something wrong or you weren't supposed to cut it. This is a 20 CV deep hollow that is done in a Wharncliffe, and so that gives you a lot more cutting potential anyway. The fact is this was ground at 2.018 behind the edge thickness. He's doing some regrinds on some of these that are 0.010 or 0.009, insanely thin behind the edge. They cut so well. The 20 CV on this was done very well. Edge profile on it, like I said, super perfect. And the fact it's a Wharncliffe, you can cut all the way up to the tip. The other thing it has going for it is the contour of the blade. You can really bear down on this and then put your thumb up on this really good jimping and power down into material. I have not had an issue cutting anything with this knife. Wood, paper, cardboard, it just screams through it. It's comfortable to cut with, so you've got a very good, comfortable grip. You're not got any hot spots. You're not going to have hand fatigue. It's easy to deploy, even if like you've got this huge, big aperture. So if you're wearing gloves on like say, a job site, you've got really good access to that. And it's big enough that you're going to be able to do it. Reverse flick only on this, but on top of everything else, nice and light. Such a good knife. If you need to cut around something, you get way up on here and you cut around stuff. You got this big piercing tip. If you need to, like, one of the things I've done with this is I use water bottles to make fly traps, and so you pierce in and you just cut all the way around, just spin all the way around a water bottle and then stick the top back down in. Milk jugs and things like that, if you're gonna cut them, because I've used milk jugs as funnels because you can have the handle. It's all hillbilly stuff that you can do to save money and not have to buy stuff. So yeah, awesome knife. This has been put through its paces. The best cutter on the list. I thought we would hit it first and then move on into the others. I thought I'd mention we will have an honorable mention on this video. This is my PM2 in S90V. The reason this is such a good cutter is the blade shape and everything, but then the other thing is how aggressive the edge that this S90V took was. The steel on this has been heat treated so well. You've got a nice radius blade that still has a good bit of flat. So you have belly, you have flat, but it's not such a steep radius. It doesn't drop off so far that you can't do a lot of the things you could do with a Wharncliffe. One of the nice things about a Wharncliffe is you can cut and just continue to cut and continue to cut. A lot of times a knife with a big belly, you drop off at the point and you can't get everything you want done. The edge profile on this is great. It is a full flat grind all the way from the spine, and it transitions down nice and thin. I've put a little bit of a laid back edge on this, so it's an even thinner cutting profile. And then, like I said, the steel on this was done so perfect. S90V takes such an aggressive edge at a lot of grits. This is at about 1,000 grit, and it is just sticky sharp. It's aggressive enough to cut through material, cloth, things like that. That's a good test. If you cut t-shirt material, this just screams through t-shirt material, just a touch and it cuts. If it slips, you got kind of a fine edge. The other reason that this is such a good cutter is you've got this forward choil where you can get your finger way up on it here and then just really power down into a cut and use that momentum. You can get up here on this and then drop into that. Such a comfortable cutter, and just slides through material. You put your thumb here and you can power down into the cut. Awesome knife. It carries really well. It's super light for a larger knife. That is one of the nice things about some of these Spydercos. Ultra light, carries nice, and you're not going to shy away from using it because it's super comfortable. That's a big deal when you're cutting, is how is the comfort level. So awesome knife. I think this is probably the second best cutter on this list today. Know that no one likes to watch ads in the middle of a video. I don't like putting them in, but I do know that I got to support what I do here. So I partnered with companies that I know I can trust. And today's sponsor is Coffee Brand Coffee. They're delivering
quality coffee, freshly roasted on demand, ground to order and delivered to your door, and they're not doing anything political, so you don't have to worry about a company that you're supporting that is supporting causes that you might not agree with, because they don't support any causes. They just simply take the money and put it back into making a better product. So I would appreciate if you both support their new small business and my channel by checking out Coffee Brand Coffee and looking at their offerings. Use the link below and my coupon code Crazy Sharp on their website. It's Crazy Sharp, all one word, capital C, capital S. Let's get back to this.
So now third place kind of goes to this QSP Legatus, but I will tell you the two knives after this are basically tied. This is QSP Legatus. It's done in M390 and titanium carbon fiber inlays. This thing is so thin behind the edge, it just screams through material. M390 holds an edge really well. This took a very, very good aggressive edge after I sharpened it. You've got a lot of belly on this knife. This thing just slides up through. So if you're cutting like this and doing sweeping cuts, it just screams through material. The finish on it is nice and fine, which removes a lot of friction. There is a lot to be said for surface finish on a knife when it comes to cutting potential. It kind of reduces some friction. The hold on this is great. You can get your thumb way up in here. You can push down into that cut. You can draw through and it just slides through. There are no hot spots on this knife, so you're doing a lot of cutting. You're not gonna have any issue. Everything's been finished nice and fine. But when it comes to cutting, this thing just screams through material. It is a fairly bellied blade, but the fact is, just like the Spyderco PM2, you're looking at a radius on this that is not so rounded that you lose your ability to cut. So it doesn't feel like it's too rounded. It's just a great, great knife in the cut. And like I said, getting it in hand and being able to get up on it, even in this forward choil like this, that allows you to just power down into stuff. And I don't just mean like cutting cardboard and things like this. This excelled at wood cutting and things like that, which makes sense because this was a collaboration between QSP and Dutch Blade Works, and they do a lot of bushcraft kind of stuff with their knives. This is an awesome, awesome knife. I love how smooth everything is on this. It just feels great. And that choil there is just about perfect for getting up on and just doing some heavy cutting. Cut a lot of wood with this, just amazing at it. So there you go. The QSP Legatus, the collaboration with Dutch Blade Works. This is a sleeper. This is a knife that a lot of people have overlooked. This is the Rosecraft Judah, and this thing is done great. This is AR PM2 steel that has got a beautiful blade shape. You have belly at the front, but you have this huge area of flat, so you can do a lot of the things you do on a Wharncliffe, but you still have belly if you need it. This is a good outdoor style knife. This is something you could use skinning small game and things like that. It's got a very nice behind the edge profile. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's in that Goldilocks zone, and it's done in AR PM2 steel, which takes a very aggressive edge. Now, this is still a factory edge on it. All I've had to do with this is strop it up a few times, but it cuts really, really well. And it's not just it's a culmination of a lot of things. You can get a very, very good solid grip on this because you've got this area here that's scooped out that your fingers go in, and you've got the palm swell here, nice radius there. It's one of those knives that squats down and drops into the cut, and you can make maximum contact. And it's just a performance cutter, especially if you're going to do a push cut. You start here right at the beginning of the belly and just work your way down through. It is great for that. Feels really good in hand. I did not have any fatigue, even though it is a relatively thin knife. It's nice and broad, so cutting really comfortable with this because you don't get the fatigue. And this feels really secure because you're down in here in that grip, and you're kind of in there. You don't feel pushed into anything, but you also have got that secure grip where it kind of narrows up, and it just feels really good. Nice natural feel where you put your thumb there and then it fills your hand. So if you're doing a lot of cutting, having a comfortable knife is great. And if you want a lanyard, look at that, they put a spot for you there. But the blade on this is the showcase. I have had no issues doing anything with this knife. It's not as piercing as some of the other knives. Like if you were going to do some detail work up at the tip, this might not be the one because you'd have to get kind of at a weird angle. But all in all, a great, great knife that I think has absolutely been overlooked. And it's gorgeous. It really is. The micarta on this was done about as well as you're going to get. So there you go. The Rosecraft blades, a Judah. This is our honorable mention because it just came in. This is that Humphrey knives, that Lon Humphrey custom knives Tucson model that he does, and this thing is amazing. Like, he did a really good heat treat on this. This is AEBL, and this has got a very nice long drawn out blade that cuts well. It's about the size of a steak knife. The blade's shape is about like a steak knife. You've got a very, very nicely shaped blade that comes up to a nice tapered belly, and it just is very, very comfortable to cut with. You've got a lot of usable edge, and the main thing is it just got screaming sharp. Nothing feels as good as a nice crisp edge on well heat treated steel. This thing was great. It was a dream to sharpen. It's been a dream to cut with and carry. And this was a gift from one of the paying members. This Tucson is an awesome, comfortable knife to cut with. So that is your honorable mention, the Lon Humphrey Custom Knives Tucson. Hey guys, this is the Concept Knives Nalu designed Entity. Now this comes in a couple different models. One doesn't have this area here and the other one does, but this is a very well done S35VN blade that comes down really nice and thin behind the edge. This is a knife that I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, and then once I carried it a little bit, I realized it's a really, really good knife. You've got this broad blade that tapers down nice and thin behind the edge. It came very sharp. It's still factory edge on this. You've got handles that get you into that squat thing that I talked about earlier, where it squats down into the cut. Absolutely love that. And if you're somebody that sweep cuts like this, it's got a lot of belly. It's basically it's basically radiused from the heel all the way to the tip, but the radius is so gentle in this part, it feels nice and flat. So you don't feel like you're losing anything where you would on some other knives that have a huge radius to them, where they're just all belly. It is in S35VN, and their heat treat has obviously been dialed in, because the way this has held its edge has been great. Scream through cardboard, scream through wood. The real cool thing about it is not only do you have that spot there for your thumb, on this one you can put your thumb all the way up in there and really power down into stuff. It doesn't have a finger choil, but if you're careful, you can get way up on it like this and do some deep cuts onto material. Nice, comfortable, broad handles on this that make it just fit really well in hand. And then just for construction standards, you've got, this is probably, of all of these, the best access to the lock bar on any of them. And it's not ugly. It's not like done in an ugly fashion where this is so much taller. They just did it the right way, where they took enough material here and enough material off the lock bar just to make it just about perfect. So that was 5 and an honorable mention of the best cutting knives that are currently here at the house. I'm going to go ahead and turn this around and do some final thoughts over at my bench and send you out about your day. There you go, guys. That's 5 of the best performing knives that are currently here, and they're not all mine. Some of them are. But like I said, this is absolutely a monster when it comes to cutting. This is like having a laser in your pocket. It's, you know, when you have a utility knife and it's got a fresh new blade on it, it screams through everything for like 2 minutes. That's what this is like all the time, and it's just amazing. Absolutely love it. If you have not checked out Precision Knife Works, Daniel's great. I'll put as many links as I can to the knives that I've shown here down below, but yeah, I would not pass up on any of them. The knife that's getting the most carry right now to all of those is my PM2, because it's amazing. So there you go, guys. That's it on this one. If you want to support the channel, thumbs up, thumbs down is the best way to do it. But if you do give the video a thumbs down, please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel financially, I'm sure that I threw a Coffee Brand Coffee ad in there somewhere, but I also have Tempered Trail is a channel sponsor. You can use my coupon code Crazy Sharp at Tempered Trail. All one word, Crazy Sharp, all one word, saves you 5% for the coffee. I have a link down below that will save you 5%. Money back guaranteed, no risk to you, and it's some awesome, awesome coffee. The other ways you can do it, I have an Amazon store down below. Take that link, pin it to your browser, do any of the shopping and do on Amazon, because you know you're going to buy stuff on Amazon anyway, because no one wants to put on pants to go shopping. And then I have got a membership where everyone hangs out in the Gilded server. I do giveaways for the baseline and premium tier guys there on the Gilded server. And then I have a sharpening tutorial series for the premium guys that is behind the paywall here on YouTube. And, you know, also I do exclusive content for those guys. So that's it on this one, guys. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. Hopefully you're having a beautiful day as I am. I will see you in the next video.